Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. In today's video, we're reviewing a brand new bottle that I purchased, not because it's brand new to the market, but because it's brand new to me. It's the first time I ever saw one on a shelf, and when I saw it for $42.59 plus tax, I was like, do I really want that? Probably not, but do I need that? Definitely not. So I bought it. Adding to my collection of small batch and full proof and single barrel and bottled in bond. I don't have a 12 year, I don't have a high rye, I don't have a 225th anniversary. This is 1792 wheat. Am I a huge fan of wheated bourbon? No. So obviously I had to buy it. I think I may have reviewed 1792 sweet wheat on a 1 ounce Wednesday before. I can't remember for sure, but I might have. But looking at this, I'm like, hey, what's the worst that could happen? I'm out $50, son of a bitch. A lot of times I spend $50 on a bottle of whiskey for a review like this, and then I taste it, and then I'm like, oh boy, that $50 could have went towards something much more useful, like removing myself from debt. America. By the way, this cork stopper combo, this is far too light for what it looks like. It looks like this should be some heavy duty, it should be out of some sustenance or something, but it's like the weight of basically nothing. If you threw this at an intruder, they would bat it away with their bad breath. Sometimes you pour it all in the glass, and sometimes you pour some of it on the glass, and then some of it on your open-toed feet, and then some of it on the floor, and then some of it on your microphone thing. Sweet wheat, crafted with sweet and delicate wheat instead of the more traditional rye, this bourbon is quite distinctive from most. The soft wheat delivers a subtle and smooth taste with gentle layers of flavor. Each sip expresses a harmony of sweetness and dryness. The only manufacturers on the planet that should be bragging about dryness are antiperspirant companies or companies that manufacture dryers. When it comes to liquid, we definitely don't. That seems weird, but they want to let you know that this is going to be dry. Enjoy this perfectly balanced flavor that will entice your senses. I am genuinely eager to be impressed with my senses. Let's give it a shot. Sweet wheat. Little bit of an SJ never hurt anybody. Some sort of warming bread. It's almost like my wife's sourdough starter. I've been feeding my wife's sourdough starter lately because she's been away at work. She took another travel contract about an hour and a half from here. So I've been just doing my best, doing my darndest to keep up on things around the house. I wish I could be like Batman in Multiplicity when he cloned himself, so that one of him could shoot whiskey videos in the garage while the other one of him fed the sourdough and did the dishes and folded the laundry and brought the kids to school and all that stuff. Spoiler alert, don't ever make a clone of a clone. Trust me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, sourdough starter. I wish my wife would stretch and fold me once in a while, if you know what I mean. Yep. It's like sourdough starter if I accidentally fed the sourdough starter with a little bit of maraschino cherry in there too. The more it's opening up in the glass, the more I'm picking up on a little bit of funkiness here. It's not like a wildly funky wheated profile, but it's there a little bit. Almost smells like the fermentation process. If you've ever been on a tour of a distillery and you go into the room where the fermentation tanks are and you just get that like the bubbly into the air, kind of smells like a fermentation tank a little bit. That was my nickname back in 4-H club, fermentation tank. Let's go in for a taste. 1792 sweet wheat down the hatch. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. This is not my favorite thing I've ever tasted. but it is twisty and turny and curvy and complex. When this first hit the palate, the first few seconds, I was really enjoying it, and I was like, ooh, sweet, some good berry action in there. Nice and oily, it coated the mouth well, but then right when I was about to express my pleasure, it took this weird turn and it got funky and weedy. Where it began, I loved. Where it ended up, I didn't necessarily love. But the way that it got there was pretty neat, and I appreciate that. Second sip. Yeah. Blackberry, and then just when it starts to fade, the blackberry that it gets starts to fade, and then it turns into this funky, weeded, it's almost like a beer finish. Maybe it reminds me of a wheat beer. This is 91.2 proof. I would say at that proof point, it still provides enough oomph and enough kick, has enough power behind it to like stand up for itself. At 91.2 proof, it's not underpowered. The transition of flavors in the finish, 91 proof, it's pretty impressive for 91 proof. Third sip. So the traditional 1792 small batch profile is a rye bourbon. It's corn, it's rye, it's malted barley. And then when that Barton profile ages for releases like the 1792 12 year, that's when I really started to enjoy that Barton mash bill. When other places source that aged Barton as well, like the 12, 14, 15, 16, 18 year Barton mash bill, some of my favorite bourbon on the planet. I say that to say this, whatever is in this bottle, the wheated profile, is good for being whatever age it is. I'm gonna guess what, 6 years probably, give or take. I can't recall off the top of my head any wheated Barton mash bill products that have a 10 or 12 year age statement on them. In the comments below, if I'm wrong, point that out to me and tell me what products I'm forgetting about. But I'm wondering if some of that funkiness on the back of the palate will sort of age out as this distillate gets older. As for this, the 1792 sweet wheat, I think it is good. If you like other wheated bourbons on the market, if you like the funk that comes across on those, then I will think that you will strongly like the 1792 sweet wheat. Therefore, today, 1792 sweet wheat receives a score from me of 7.28. I think that this is a very strong bourbon in the wheated bourbon category, and if I didn't like the blind sample I had in the past, I could also see that, depending on the day. This is probably the most complex young wheated bourbon that I've tried. It has the biggest transition phase where it goes from like sweet and berries and cream into this funky weird road where you're in the passenger seat and you're like, where are you taking me? And then the driver who you don't know that well is like, just trust me. And you're like, I've watched way too many Annie Elise videos for me to trust you. And they're like, do you think Annie Elise is better than Bailey Sarian? And you're like, well, not necessarily. Bailey Sarian, she's smoking hot. And then before you know it, you've been talking about murder mystery YouTube channels for so long that you've completely forgot that the driver is taking you out into the middle of nowhere and beats you senseless to death and leaves you to die on the side of the road. It's not that bad on the back end. It's more like it just gave you a scare. Just a scare. I probably overdid it talking about how bad it got, because it didn't get that bad. It just got kind of funky and weird at the back. So let's just say that they drove you out to the middle of nowhere and then tried to seduce you and you had to tell them no, and then they drove you back home. And it was awkward. Dan Shook once drove me out in the middle of the woods and put the moves on me. Then I woke up. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up, please. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. For God's sakes, I need the subscribers. The subscriber number feeds me. Leave a comment down below. 1792 sweet wheat. Do you own one of these? If not, have you ever seen one of these for sale in public? If not, I will recommend you looking, because I've never seen one of these either until recently. Thanks for watching. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey, like I always say. Keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on telling your patrons that you're going to post your bowling scores every week and invite them to do the same. Because before I started my bowling league this year, I felt like that was a great idea, and I was pretty confident. And then I bowled my first 3 games tonight, and I don't want to share the results with anybody, let alone the public. And I have to do it. So practice makes perfect, and sometimes even when you practice, it doesn't make you perfect or even better.